Welcome back to another video from the Debate Room podcast. This is going to be a solo episode. I haven't done one of these in a long time, probably since last playoffs where I had to do one, just like a reaction to a game. But this is going to be a solo episode. Before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and follow us on our social media platforms. So I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on all of the NBA playoff action over the last 2 days. So games threes and fours of the last 2 days. Action-packed playoffs. It's been amazing. This playoffs has been amazing. The physicality has been amazing. Some of the series has been amazing. And it's just a lot to talk about. And so I think Jaden has a class in the morning. Q and Max had emergencies. So they weren't able to get on tonight, but I just wanted to release my thoughts on a series, and we have to cover this stuff. So I just wanted to get some out in a timely manner because there are more games tomorrow, and then by the time we were able to record again, it'll be more games on Tuesday. So I just want to get my quick thoughts out. So we'll start with Dame suffering an Achilles injury and lost the Pacers. This game is actually still going on right now. And I just wanted to talk about this first because it's the game that's going on right now. And also, it feels like basically the most relevant thing right now. Yeah. So basically, all I really want to say is, first of all, hope Dame comes back healthy. Hope because at his age, that's a scary injury. Achilles injury, well, he's like what 34, 33, 34, however old he is. That is something that's very hard to come back from. I think he can bounce back, but I don't even know. His brace may be going, getting to the rim and stuff like that. So hopefully it's not, though. Hopefully he can still come back and be a really productive player because that injury getting this late in the season probably means he's going to miss the rest of the year. But the overarching theme with the Bucks is, and this is for a message to Giannis Antetokounmpo, bro. Giannis, I know you want to be loyal to the Bucks. I know you want to be with the Bucks forever. I can tell that you really value loyalty, but if you stay in Milwaukee with this organization, your career is going to die there. It's going to go down the drain because the Bucks do not have any realistic ways to improve this team while you age. Giannis, you are already 30 years old. And I don't believe your game is going to age well once you start to lose athleticism. This team is nowhere near close to contention, and next year is going to be a year where you guys are going to struggle to make it out the play-in. You are already 30. You do not need to waste another year of your prime while you're still a top 3 to 4 player in this world. Request a trade. You have to request a trade. No one in Milwaukee is going to be mad at you for requesting a trade. You gave your all to that city. You brought them a championship for the first time in like 40 years. I think the fans will understand that you requested a trade after 3 straight years of losing in the first round, 3 straight years of injuries and disappointment and multiple head coaches and terrible roster decisions and bad GMing. I think fans will understand if you request a trade. So I understand you want to be loyal. I understand you want to be a Bucks player for life, probably, and that's a team that drafted you, and your kids were raised there, and your family grew there, and they gave a job and money to your brother. But I don't think anyone would be mad at you at all for requesting a trade with the current situation. Um, for the Bucks side of things, I think it's just extremely hard because Giannis he means everything to your franchise, for one, and two, because you have mismanaged the situation so badly, you don't have any future assets. So if you trade Giannis, most of the picks you probably going to get are from a team that's going to be getting Giannis, and when that team gets Giannis, they're going to be much better. So those picks are not going to be good. So you probably have to trade for players that are young and could potentially help your team as soon as next year because you have no incentive to be bad. So you're really in a very bad situation where even if you trade Giannis, you're going to be one of those rebuilding teams like the Nets in the 2010s who were just bad and didn't have any picks. I didn't have any like lottery picks, didn't have any high picks or whatever. But maybe you can get picks from Houston and players, or picks from OKC, maybe picks from the Spurs. Giannis will have a lot of suitors. Um, but yeah, if I'm Giannis, I probably request a trade and try to get to the Spurs with Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, because they have a balance of youth and players that are ready to win now. Victor Wembanyama is probably a top 5 talent in this world, and the duo is definitely competing for a championship in the West. And De'Aaron Fox is a hell of a point guard. That will have you competing for a championship in the West for the next 4 to 5 years. So I will try to get to San Antonio, because they have the assets and the pick to do it. I will definitely try to get there pretty quickly. And if you do it like this soon, the Spurs have picks in this draft where it'll be worth it. So and picks in the future. So yeah, I would definitely do that with San Antonio. If and also Victor Wembanyama will get a running mate where he can compete for a championship as soon as next year. So I think that works for both sides, honestly. Maybe Houston. I don't think OKC is going to do it because they're on a route to a finals appearance probably. So they don't need to add. They don't need to add Giannis. Maybe Brooklyn does it, but they can't compete for a championship. The Knicks were a opportunity, but they gave up 5 picks for Mikal Bridges, so it's not an opportunity anymore. But it's really sad to see how far the Bucks have fallen since their 2021 championship. And honestly, Giannis's prime is probably one of the most mismanaged primes we've seen from all-time great. They got to be up there because they've done a terrible job. I mean, look at this season. I get Chris Middleton is old and injury prone and not the same player, but you traded him. Well, he meant a lot to your franchise. You traded him. You traded AJ Johnson, who you selected in the first round, whether he's good or not. You traded him for Kyle Kuzma, who is one of the worst rotation players in the league. He is awful. He's terrible. He's one of the worst players that gets minutes in the league. He's just awful. Then you signed or traded for KPJ, one of those two, who is he shouldn't be in the NBA. And also, he's not great at all. Like, he is well below league average efficiency. Historically, an awful defender. Like, no, and they also just re-signed or gave an extension to the GM that has ruined their future. I don't know what the decision was behind that was, but yeah, the Bucks have been like terribly ran for the last basically 4 seasons. Ever since they traded Jrue Holiday, I guess not 4 seasons, but ever since they won that title, they got complacent. They made terrible moves since then. But we can move on to the next game. That was just the last game of the night. Lastly, hope Dame is okay. Hope his career can still flourish after this injury. Hope he heals and he can come back and be a really, really impactful player because he really bounced back when he was on the court this year. Next series, Ant dropped 43 today. He was amazing. Outside of his scoring, which was ridiculous, I think he has 43, 9 and 6 on 70 true shooting. His playmaking in a series and tonight was amazing. Just making simple, easy reads, getting to the paint whenever he needed to, and the Lakers had nothing for it. My main takeaway from this game is when I was predicting this series, I picked the Lakers in 6 because I did feel like I feel like the Timberwolves had more athletes, they had more size, they had a better defense than the Lakers, but I felt like I didn't trust their offense down the stretch of games because at times this season, they had really, really bad offense down the stretch of games. When they saw like traps, when they saw zones, they had a really hard time dealing with it. But what I underestimated is the fact that they have a much deeper team than the Lakers, and that manifested today. The Lakers had to play the same lineup the whole second half, no rest, and that was their downfall in this series and in this game because they tired out down the stretch. And you saw the team that had the fresher legs, the better athletes, the younger players. You really, really saw it. And Luka as well, most notably, just tired out in that fourth quarter because he was on the floor for so long and his conditioning is not the best at all. I think that Lakers are going to be really good in the future. Right now, though, this team is very, very, very incomplete. It's very incomplete. It's not a team built around Luka to win a championship at all. And no person should have expected the Lakers to make a run this season. The trade they made was for the future. It was for the next 10 to 15 years because they don't have enough point of attack defense. They don't have a center at all. They don't have a good bench. When you're building around Luka Doncic, you need rim runners, you need wing defenders, and you need shooting. They have maybe one of those things, and that's probably the shooting. So it's just not a team optimized around Luka Doncic at all right now. And I think it's really hurt his offense. Now, he has been great in this series from a scoring perspective, but the playmaking that really hurt the Timberwolves last year is not there at all because he doesn't have a pick and roll partner to really make the low man have to make a decision. And that's where his offense thrives in the pick and roll for sure. I mean, they barely played Jackson Hayes. There's been a lot of one-on-one offense. There's been a lot of mismatch hunting, and it's really hurt the Lakers' offense. They've been best when the Timberwolves have traps and they got the ball to Rui or LeBron in the short roll, and they keep the Timberwolves defense in rotation. But this team is just not built to make deep playoff runs, like at all, because for all the reasons I just listed. So in the offseason, they're going to have to work to build a competent team around Luka, and I think they're going to have to answer some tough questions. Does Austin Reeves fit in this equation with Luka and LeBron? Will they have to move off Rui, who was great in this game, but you could possibly use him to get a better center? They definitely got to get a center though. But yeah, I think this trade, the Luka trade, was for the future. Honestly, as far as the Timberwolves though, I think this shouldn't be as unexpected as it is as far as them going up 3-1 because for the last like 30 games, they were one of the best teams in the league. I think they were probably like top 5 to 7 in net rating. On the season, they had a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. A lot of shooters, a lot of depth. And they were just in the Western Conference Finals last year. Julius Randle took a second to get his feet wet on this team. But he has been great in this playoff series. And that's another thing I want to speak on because Julius Randle got the tag of being a playoff dropper based on a 15-game sample size over like a 5-year span in which he was injured for some of it and playing, masquerading as a number one option in another part of this sample size. And I think even myself has called Julius Randle a playoff dropper. But when we use that term, which I don't really know if we should use that term anymore in our discourse, but I think it needs a lot more context to his play over the last like 4 or 5 seasons. So I'm glad that he's playing well. It's been cool to see. I would like to say though, I mean, the Lakers don't have anything for him. They don't have the wing defenders to match up with his physicality. They don't have any rim protection. So this is a series where Julius Randle can play very well in. Anthony Edwards, I'll go back to him, man. It's been great to see his playmaking take another leap. He's been able to consistently make the simple reads, which he's really struggled with in his career before. But he's making some skip passes. He's making some it's mostly just drive and kick, to be honest. But he's making quick decisions, and he sprinkles in some advanced decisions. It's going to be really interesting to see where we rank him after this year, because he consistently rises in the playoffs every single year. He elevates his level. He turned into one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this year, the best 3-point shooter in the league this year, while maintaining the ability to get to the basket whenever he wants to. So shout out Anthony Edwards. And I do think the series is over. I do think the Timberwolves will go to the Western Conference Finals because I think they're going to beat the Rockets or the Warriors in the next round. And I think they'll see OKC. And that series is going to be a movie. So yeah. Next series up, Knicks beat Pistons on controversial call. Now this one, this hit home because I am a Pistons fan. And they hosed us. I mean, that was clearly a foul on Josh Hart down the stretch, but I don't think this game should come down to one play. Now, Tim Hardaway Jr. should have went to the 3-point line. Tim Hardaway Jr. should have went to the free throw line to win that game. But this game did not come down to one play at all. The Pistons turned the ball over way too much. Way too much. It starts with Cade Cunningham, but the entire team turned the ball over way too much, including Asar Thompson. This offense outside of Cade Cunningham, and even including Cade Cunningham at times, it's awful. It's too slow to get into its actions. It's too simple. It's a lot of pick and roll, They weren't able to hit a lot of threes today either, which was really detrimental. But they fought hard in this series though. I do want to get the Pistons their flowers because last year they won 14 games, and now they tripled their win total. They fought hard in this series defensively. This series has been very physical defensively. It's been a great series to watch. It's been a refreshing series as well. But ultimately, I don't think the Pistons have enough secondary creation and ball handling next to Cade Cunningham to be a serious team. So while they have made a really big jump from last season, and you got to feel good about that, you definitely have to go into this offseason and address the issues. They cannot stay stagnant in what they've done so far. They have to address the issues. They need more shooting. They need more secondary creation. They probably need another backup center, honestly. Stewart was out, which was a big part of the series as well. Jalen Duren was awful today. But on the Knicks side of things, I wouldn't be that confident if I'm a Knicks fan about my chances in the next round based off how they've played in the series. They've got they've been a lot. It's been a physical series, but I think the Pistons have been a more physical team. The offense has struggled a lot at times. They've played down to their opponents a lot, and they're just not going to be able to fly in a series versus the Celtics coming up. I think OG has been a bit inconsistent. Mikal has been largely inconsistent. Cat was struggling today before he turned it on. Brunson has been amazing, though. So Josh Hart is basically a negative offensively, which is a conversation for another day. But they really won this game down the stretch of the game because Brunson and Cat just made unreal shots down the stretch, and you really saw the talent disparity down the stretch of this game. The Knicks had two guys where they could go to them down the stretch and they can just go get buckets and make tough shots. And that was the real difference. And I don't think JB made the best coaching decisions today. Like using that challenge when it's 10-8 in the first quarter, didn't like it at all. I really don't like when coaches use challenges in the beginning of the game. I feel like it rarely leads to good results. But coming into the series, I thought the Pistons were going to lose in 5. They had a really good chance to push to 6, and I think they still have a chance to push it to 6. But they had a really chance to like really compete in this series, maybe push it to 7. And the refs have already admitted that was the wrong call, so that's very unfortunate. And I feel for my fellow Pistons fans with that. But I will say the game didn't come down to one play, and K definitely got a decent look on that game winning shot, a decent mid-range shot, but he needs to make that. But yeah, I can't really blame K too much for this series loss, but he definitely needs to improve. I need K to improve on his handling. It's too loose. He turns the ball over too much. I need K to improve his three-point shooting volume, especially in this series. I know he's upped it this year, but in the series he didn't. He hasn't shot enough threes. I need him to improve his rim finishing as well. And I need him to be more urgent when he's creating this offense because he's too slow when he's doing it. He likes to play in his pace, but sometimes I get into the shot clock too late, and he relies on tough shot making too much. So he's still in year 4. I'm looking for improvements in those areas. I'm cognizant of his issues, and I'm cognizant of the Pistons' issues as a team. And while I'm happy with the results on the floor this season, I'm looking for them to improve. I don't want to get complacent at all. But let's move on to the next series because this series has been a banger. I'm not going to lie. This has been the best series of the first round. Aaron Gordon, put back dunk or offensive rebounding dunk to win game 2 of the series. Well, win game 4 of the series. It was a special game. I think um, Denver controlled this game for a long time. Um, not the Timberwolves. The Clippers returned the ball over a lot. Their offense just went into one of those slumps where it's Kawhi ISO, it's James Harden ISO, it's too much hero ball. They also lost the minutes where Zubac was off the court and Jokic was on the court really badly. This team desperately needs a backup center because Ben Simmons, I mean, he's been fine, but against Nikola Jokic, it's a death wish. Nikola Jokic was really putting his imprint on his game, especially when Ben Simmons, was on the floor guarding him. Those minutes with Zubac was off the floor really hurt them. But this was a special game. The Clippers were down like 15 or 16, I think, somewhere in the third quarter, third, fourth quarter. And then they implemented a 1-3-1 zone, and it really threw off the Nuggets offense. They started turning the ball over. They were poorly spaced. They didn't get Jokic in the middle of the floor fast enough, and it really hurt their offense. And the Clippers were so close to winning this game. I think the Clippers are the better team, and I do think they will win the series. I just do. They, for some reason, have good quality offense in their pick and roll with Zubac and Harden, attacking Jokic and whatever pick and roll defender is guarding Harden, and they stray away from that too much. Kawhi hasn't really got his ISO going outside of one game. Neither has James Harden. They need to stick with this pick and roll offense, some weak side stuff, and just keep going at it until it's broke. Because even if they blitz Harden, Zubac can make great decisions out of the short roll. And obviously Kawhi can get his ISO things, his off the ball things, but they need to use his pick and roll a lot more. It has been very, very effective. Jokic did play better defense in this game, coming up to the level, showing some effort, but they need to continue to attack him for sure. And also another observation I had, Chris Dunn, for all of his defensive prowess, he is not great offensively. If his 3-point shot's not going in, he is unplayable. Because even when he cuts in the short roll and stuff, he hasn't been able to finish at the rim. So he's been a negative offensively. And Norman Powell got it going last game, but he has been unplayable defensively, and Bogey has been unplayable defensively. But I still think the Clippers are just a better team. They have more depth. They have a better coach, even though Ty Lue hasn't had his best series. So yeah, I still believe in the Clippers to win the series. I do. But it's going to be a cinema. I think the series is going to go 7, and that's going to bode well for the Thunder, who get to rest for 9 days and play the winner of the series. I think the Thunder would probably rather see the Nuggets though. Next series up, Steph went nuclear. He went nuclear in game 3 to take a 2-1 lead over the Rockets. I'm not gonna lie. I have no faith really in the Rockets to win a series anymore because I feel like you definitely cannot lose a game without Jimmy Butler. Like losing a game without Jimmy Butler, that's a death wish in this series. You had an opportunity, a pristine opportunity to take a 2-1 lead in a series, and you lost it because Steph Curry just went nuclear. Alperen Sengun was bad. Jalen Green was bad. Fred VanVleet was, again, terrible. The offense down the stretch just completely imploded. And this game for me just really showed how much value that Stephen Curry still has because their offense without him for the first half of the game, when he was off the floor, they didn't score any single point. 0 points. They were terrible in the 7 minutes he didn't play in this game. And he doesn't even have to be scoring to have immense value on the offense end. He has so much gravity on and off the ball. It creates so many opportunities for his teammates. Like Gary Payton Jr. was able to have the best playoff game of his career just off the fact that Stephen Curry was on the floor. And it really just showed me like Steph is still one of the best offensive players that we see in a game today. And I don't know why I took this to open my eyes to that, but it was definitely on display in this game. I don't know. Like, I think Jimmy Butler will be back next game. and the Rockets will lose probably, and go down 3-1. But I don't have any faith in their offense. I don't like in a game where Jimmy Butler didn't play, you didn't get the win. Also, Amin Thompson has been really he struggled in his first playoff run. It's his first playoff run, but the half court he is in a playoff setting damn near unplayable. He is. He can't shoot. They put Quinn in post on him, and he wasn't able to take advantage of that, of his speed and the athleticism mismatch on that. And he looked really unsure. Like when he's passing the ball, when he's going to score the ball, they were comfortable letting him take mid ranges and those push shots he likes. So it's their offense is just it's terrible, and that's why I didn't pick them in the series. I knew that this was going to happen. Jalen Green needs to be much better. He was great in game 2, and then but outside of game 2, he's been terrible in the series. I think they did a much better job of sending him towards help in the series, picking him up full court in the series, showing him more bodies in the series. And he has to take more shots because I don't think he was aggressive enough in game 3. But they're going to need him to have a big game in game 4 if they want to have a chance because Sengun was pretty good in the first 2 games, but they need more than Sengun. And he was dealing with Draymond Green in game 3 a lot. And Draymond Green wrecked the game for them. I was confident that the Rockets could give the Warriors a challenge, which at times they have, but after what I saw in game 3, they probably going to lose this game. And I want to say we'll lose a series in probably like 5 or 6 because their defense sets a great floor, but down the stretch of games, I'm going with the Warriors every single time if it's close. I think they have to blow them out in order to win games in this series. So that's my take on where the Rockets and Warriors are right now, though, and that's been one of the most exciting series of the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to that. Another series that's going on that happened today: Celtics outlast the Magic to take a 3-1 lead. I just want to give a shout out to Paolo and Franz. They've done whatever they can in this series to make it competitive. They're not going to win another game in this series, but considering what they have around them, they've probably done all they can in this series. It hasn't been always the most efficient. It hasn't looked the prettiest, but they've been productive and they kept their team in his game along with their defense. So I think the Magic have 2 good young players and Franz and Paolo. I don't know if they mesh well together because both of them are below average shooters and neither one are particularly great off the ball. But right now, that's their foundation. And the least they can do for Paolo and Franz is give them a point guard, put some actual shooting around them, and give them a coach that's much more imaginative offensively because the roster around them is god-awful. The shooting around them is god-awful. And the reason they are able to stay competitive is because of their defense. But they owe it to 2 players that they have invested. They owe it to 2 players that they have invested a lot in to build a better ecosystem around them in order to see if this duo can lead to high-level offense and lead to a contending team. I'm not sure it will, but they have to at least attempt to build a competent roster around these 2 sometime soon. They probably didn't address shooting enough last offseason. They got KCP, who's had a down year shooting, but some of their draft picks have just been head scratching. I like Anthony Black. He does not fit this team. And in hindsight, they should have drafted him because he doesn't fit this team. He kind of needs the ball in his hand and to run that offense, in my opinion, to be his most impactful self. I think Cole Anthony was before Paolo and Franz, but that was a terrible pick, in my opinion. Cole Anthony's not good. Who else did they draft? I'm blanking on his name. Jet Howard, terrible pick. Didn't like it when it happened. He's a specialist that if he's not knocking down shots, he is terrible defensively. He can't play make, and it was just a bad pick. They picked a specialist at like 11th or whatever they picked him. I think I mean, Grady Dick hasn't been much better, but he could have probably been better in this current situation, in my opinion. So it's probably a number of players they could have picked that would have helped them more than Jet Howard in that draft. I'll have to go back and look at it. But yeah, the Magic this offseason need to get a lot more spacing. They probably need to upgrade on Wendell Carter Jr. For sure, and just get healthy this offseason. Work on their shooting. They need to get Franz a shooting coach immediately. I don't know what's happened to his jump shot. His ceiling is limited if he cannot shoot. He's a great driver. He is a really good passer. He's a really good defender. If he cannot shoot, his ceiling is limited. I don't know where this hitch came from, but he got to get out his he got to get out of his system immediately, like quickly. As far as the Celtics, they've looked human in this playoff series. Porzingis has struggled a bit. Tatum he's been fine for the most part. He's been really good, I think, in these last two games. But they've looked human. They've struggled with the physicality that the Celtics or the Magic have thrown at them. So we'll see. I still think they're coming out the East. It's not. I don't really have much to say on their end. To be honest, they're the Celtics. They shoot a lot of threes. They're a highly effective offense and defense. They were going to win the series from when it started. I really expect them to sweep the Magic. So credit to the Magic for even getting one. Cavs take a 3-0 lead without Darius Garland. I think I was kind of nervous going into this game because they didn't have DG. But honestly, their defense looked a lot better. They were locked in because they had no one to attack, even though they weren't attacking DG in the first few games. And I don't think Donovan Mitchell had his best game at all. And it was really just showed how much depth the Cavs have because DeAndre Hunter went crazy. Ty Jerome had a really good game. Evan Mobley had a really good game. Jerry Allen had a really good game. So they spread it out and they were firing away. They were knocking down so many threes. They were defending like their life depended on it to take a 3-0 lead in this series. I really don't got much to say about the Cavs. I'm not gonna lie. I expect them to dominate this series, and they have. They're taking the 3-0 lead. Hopefully, they can close out in 4. I think Miami may get 1, and they close it out in Cleveland. I don't really know if we need to bring Darius Garland back for the rest of the series, especially depending on how severe the toe injury is. But on Miami's side of things, I feel like they're a solid team. They have a really good baseline for their defense, but I think Miami has players that are in misguided roles. Like, I don't think Bam Adebayo cannot be the best player on the team that's going to be good. Bam Adebayo cannot be the best player on the team that's going to actually compete for anything serious. And that's not a slight. That's very obvious. Tyler Hero probably can't be the second best offensive player on the team that's great or a championship team. I don't know where Miami goes from here because they don't seem like a team that's going to just blow it up, but they have a kind of solid infrastructure, to be honest. I mean, Tyler Hero has been good this year. I think Bam Adebayo is still a really good player. I think if he's a third option on the team, he can scale down and just be a really great defender and a really good play finisher. Miami needs that number one guy. That's what they need. I don't know where they're going to get it from. I maybe try to trade for a Book or maybe a KD. I don't know. They got to do something because I don't think they're going to tank, and their draft pick is, I think, not going to be that good this year. So we'll see. But they need to sign, trade for a number one guy. Because if not, they're going to be stuck in the play-in year after year. Maybe make a playoffs run like a 5 or 6 seed one year or something like that. But other than that, it's really not much to say for the series. Tyler Hero had a really bad game in this game. I think Bam struggled as well. But yeah, the Cavaliers were just clicking all cylinders. I think they had like a 144 offensive rating after the first quarter, and they just never looked back from there, to be honest. Last series, Thunder swept the Grizzlies. I want to start here. I want to start with the Grizzlies first because they're the team that lost. The Grizzlies in 2022 looked like a team that was on the come up, and I didn't mean to stutter. Sorry. The Grizzlies in 2022 looked like a team on a come up, and that they would be competing for like championships and competing in the West for years to come. 3 years later, they look stuck in the mud. They do not look like they're going to get better anytime soon. I know Ja had a down year, and maybe you could convince yourself that if he's better next year and he's more healthy, that this team could compete for something. But I just don't see it. They're going to have to pay Triple J after this season, and if he makes All NBA team, you're going to have to probably give him a super max deal or a max deal, like 5 years, 345 million. If they do that, that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin. I'm not going to lie. This team is not good enough. They're one of those teams where I feel like they have guys in misguided roles. Like Ja is not a number one on a championship level player. He's not a number one on a championship level. He cannot be your best player if you're trying to win a championship. He is 6'2", 6'3", injury prone, not that efficient, can't shoot, and relies on like drive and kick playmaking mostly. He makes plays out the pick and roll too. So I'll give him that, but he can't be your best player on the championship team. He's also not great defensively at all. Triple J also cannot be your second best player if you're trying to win a championship. It's just not. In the playoffs, he's really struggled with physicality. He's really struggled with mismatches. He's a inconsistent and streaky shooter, and his defense is also probably overvalued because he can't stay on the floor without fouling. And he also is a terrible rebounder. So he has his flaws. Desmond Bane is fine. I don't really have many gripes about him. I think he could probably be a third best player or third best scorer on a championship level team. It's really just Triple J and Ja. And they're gonna have to pay Triple J after this year. Zach Edey took strides in the series. At times he looked pretty good on the glass and protecting the rim. But I don't know where Memphis goes from here. I don't know where Memphis goes from here. They traded 2 first-round picks for Marcus Smart. Their front office low-key has been like average for a minute. They find diamonds in the roughs a lot of times in the draft, but they don't even have a coach right now. I don't know where Memphis goes from here. I don't know how they take a next step into contention. They're going to be Memphis seems like a team that's going to be like good for a minute, but like I don't see a realistic pathway for them to take that next step. I don't see it. As far as the Thunder, 4-0 sweep. They were dominant for most of the series. They had 2 close games. So not most of the series, pardon me. But they look like they're going to get rest and they're going to go to the finals. But my thing is, Shea looked weird this series. I don't know what was going on with him. He struggled in 3 of these games. I think he has had an issue with playoff physicality in this round because the Grizzlies loaded up on him. They really forced him to be a passer, and he was able to make simple, easy reads over there, which is cool. But he struggles as a high leverage playmaker, and that can really hurt the Thunder going forward. They have an all-time great defense, so it may not hurt them. But when teams force him to like make tougher reads, or they put a defender on his hip and they play really physical with him, Shea can struggle at times. He has not got to the rim effectively in his playoffs at all. I think that was also an issue for him last year. So I want to see how he counters against that in the coming rounds. If they play Denver, though, he's not going to have to worry about that. But I think the Clippers could give him issues on offense. It may look really rough. Thankfully, though, the Thunder have an all-time great defense. But I'm more interested in Shea having a good series and a good playoff run. So I want to see how he counters that. It seems like he settled for a lot of mid ranges this series instead of it being a counter. He took a lot of threes in a series that he was not hitting. He forced a lot of shots. He just wasn't himself. And I want to see how he bounces back because they need Shea to be at his best in order to win a championship. So it just may be the case that certain matchups aren't great for him. But he wasn't able to draw fouls like he usually has outside of Game 4 in a series, I believe. So I think Game 3 too. I might be mistaken, but I don't feel like he was able to draw fouls as much as he usually does in this series. But that's going to do it. I think that's all the series that's going on right now in the playoffs we should be back with more NBA content and NFL content pretty soon. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on our social media platforms up at the top of the screen. And we are out, or I am out.